We'll now call the Personnel Committee hearing to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Cone. Alderman Cone.
Present.
Okay.
Present.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Present.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Alderman Narayan.
Here.
Alderman Page.
Present.
Chairman Vollmer.
Present.
You have 7 present. A quorum is present.
All right. Quorum being present. And I mean, Mr. Clerk, I opened up the last drive you gave me, but I don't know if I'm not getting it right as far as my roll call sheet on here. There we go, modified. Thank you. This came up. They had 2020 on there before. Okay. Because I'm trying to get the agenda, modified agenda. There we go. Thank you, sir. Someday I'll get all technical like you guys are.
Okay.
All right, we have no minutes to approve.
No.
Board bills for review. We'll skip line items 3, 4, and 5, and we'll move to line item 6, committee discussion. Item 1, COVID-19 safety precautions and protocols and facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at this point, I believe Alderwoman Tyus, would you like to proceed? No?
You don't know how tired I am. This is my 3rd meeting today, but okay. All righty.
I might have one up on you today, I can tell you that.
I was setting this all up for you. I thought I was being a good second in command, okay?
Well, actually,
And this is really mean when the first in command says, okay, go for it, but all right.
well, when I was looking actually, as far as I noticed we do not have a vice chair for this committee. And I was wondering if you would be interested in that position. If not, we'll go through
Okay, since I'm the one pushed it, you get no good deed goes unpunished. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
So you'll accept vice chair of this
I
committee?
accept.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, please make note of that.
I did.
All right.
Acknowledge.
And no offense, but I do have about 100 other phone calls today. I might skip out of here, so I just.
Now you're telling me the rest of the story. Okay, Paul Harvey.
My life changed a little. My life changed a little last night.
Okay. Okay, Mr.
I'll hang around as long as I can, but please proceed, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, item 1 is COVID-19 safety protocols and facility. And when the last time we had a meeting, we talked about what we were going to do. But I guess in our rush to get things done, we kind of just left it. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to get air filtrations. We're going to get the chambers clean. But we failed to appropriate money or to authorize the clerk to go forward with this. And then we went back into session. And as you all know, if you've been reading the newspapers and the things from Dr. Monty, COVID is going back up greatly in our city and in St. Louis County. And so there are people who want to go back in session. If that's what we're going to do, we need to do it in a safe way. And so we need to authorize our clerk to get the chambers cleaned. I have put in a call to the not the city council, to the Darlene Green, who is the comptroller, because I understand we got a little problem with the fact that the company has cleaned some offices and haven't been paid, because we have a problem with our new system, which is all over citywide. I'm hearing from every department that they're having a problem, and I'm trying to figure out a way if they can get that check cut to him ASAP so we can get our chambers cleaned. Because we have an old system, an old building, we don't have good air filtration in the chambers. In fact, we don't have air conditioning at all, which is why every summer we've been going down. So it was not the best protocol just to open windows and run fans. So we're back here asking the committee if we could authorize the money, and if the clerk knows how much it costs, if we could authorize the clerk to go forward and get these things done if we are going to go back into a full session.
All right. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions of the vice chair? I'll just look for any hands raised. Seeing. Okay. Alderman Cone?
Thank you, Mr. President. Madam Vice Chair, do we have a budget that is before us for these that we're voting on today? Or are we testing?
And that's how you push things down to the next person. And I want to present to you our clerk.
Wonderful. Okay.
Before we go to Mr. Clerk, Alderman from the 5th, Alderman Page has his hand up also. Let's please proceed, Alderman Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the things I noticed at our last full board meeting that it was a hybrid meeting. Some of our colleagues chose to meet in chambers and be inside chambers, and they operated quasi virtually. They used their laptops and phones to actually join a Zoom meeting by being in person. And that got me to thinking, is that going to be a potential practice going forward, or was that just a stopgap until we get all of this cleaning and sanitizing done? Just kind of wanted to put that on the floor and see what the committee thought.
Okay. Again, I believe those people are, we tried, I believe at the caucus, we tried a hybrid meeting. It was very hard to do because we were actually live, and then we had some people join through Zoom, and it's very difficult. I believe it's going to be one. The fact that they were in chambers, I don't think so much makes it a hybrid as that's just their choice where they decided to operate from. But I believe it's going to be one or the other. In my mind, we should either be in chambers or be in a Zoom format, because I believe it makes communication much better that way. That's my feelings on the matter.
May I speak on that for a moment?
I agree.
Okay. Who has to speak on that? I didn't.
That was.
Oh, Mr. Clerk. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? Whoever wishes to speak, please proceed.
Okay.
Who is the clerk?
I have spoken several times about this, that there are what are called meeting management systems that allow you to do that in a very organized and superior manner than what was done the other day. I have talked about several different ones that we were looking at. They have various names. They allow you to do those combined meetings. We even had an estimate of what it would cost to do one of those. It's in the Google Drive. You'll see in one of the folders, I believe it's the discussion items folder. You will see a number of proposals and bids that were secured through the Board of Public Service in coordination with the IT department on some of those systems and hardware. It's not cheap. However, they do allow you to have both a virtual and in-person meeting. Now, I see that more as a long run, because we began that process of looking into all of that before COVID came into being, because we're looking towards overall modernizing the board. So two things are happening here. We did not want to lose the momentum of further advancing and modernizing the board. When COVID hit, though, we had to begin to pay attention more closely to that. However, some of the long-term goals towards modernizing the board, in fact, actually address the COVID issue, and would allow, if we were already in place, it would allow the board to have moved more smoothly into a combined process of both virtual and in person. You'll also see there in that drive a summary of the various options. At the last meeting where we had a real discussion on this, a lot of ideas were thrown out. And so I couldn't really move forward as the clerk, because there were ideas that the clerk was asked to go and to look at and to come back with some information on. And so that is what was in the drive. And you'll see a summary of those different approaches, different things to do. We would recommend, though, immediately, if you want to come back into session, getting the filter, the air filtration merchandise and mechanisms. Now, some of those are not cheap, and that's the thing about it. You can get up into the thousands of dollars if you're buying a very large one for an area that size. But also there's involved the cleaning. I believe the comptroller's office has finally got that in order. We got an email from them today that they'll go ahead and begin to issue that contract with the cleaner that will be able to clean and sanitize the board, but they were still not able to give us a date yet. So we'll hone them in on that so that we'll have a date certain to do it. Now, the board was cleaned before the first in-person meeting, but because of what happened and some individuals contracted COVID, one of those protocols is to clean it there afterwards. And that's where we ran into the backlog that the company that was doing it had not been paid previously. So you can look through it. So really what we really kind of need is the okay to move forward on remediating or coming with some of the remediating activities, the additional, the filtration, at least you can get the fans, the smaller ones that have the filters on them, the cleaning of the chambers immediately. But you would need to look at, and I would suggest you really look at that summary to get the other options. Because we're looking at, there's more than that, long run. For example, you can come into the board and walk straight past the receptionist and go into the leisure room. And that's not safe. It's just simply not safe. So we really want to put a buzzer on that door where it can stay. If you notice right now, we've tried to keep it locked, but that's not efficient and really effective. It needs a buzzer on it like the door that goes back to the automatic offices. So if you have it there, then sometimes people will walk straight past the receptionist because there's really nothing there to stop them unless the receptionist get in front of them. Sometimes during the Friday meetings, I would go up front when the city marshal is in the chambers just to make sure that somebody doesn't try to go past Chanel when she's sitting at that desk. And we sit there, and believe me, some people have tried to do it. So there are issues with that as well that is addressed in that summary of the different approaches. So if you really haven't looked at it, I would suggest that you do so we can have a more long-term discussion, or discussion more about some long-term solutions to what's going on. But immediately, we just need the okay to move forward with getting those filters and all the rest of that. The board rule says that the clerk is responsible for the ongoing operations. However, in this instance, the committee asked for some very specific information. And so we didn't feel we could move forward on that without bringing it back to the committee first.
All right. Okay, and are there cost estimates on the air filtration and cleaning?
Yeah, all of it, that's in the summary.
Okay,
the cost.
Okay.
And I know most have not, with everything going on, most have not had an opportunity to really look at it.
Okay. So
is it possible
again, the problem with I'm sorry, can you?
Is it possible to share what that is? I don't have access to that Google Drive at the moment. So if we're going to take a vote on this, I'd like to know what those numbers are, and then also to know if we have the budget for it currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a budget for it because there are several positions that are vacant that monies can be moved over to.
All right, so
let me get to it if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
No, please proceed. Please proceed.
Thank you for indulging me. Appreciate it.
Give me a moment.
We're keeping track of indulgences.
And that's $250 in indulgence also.
I don't play those games, but I can't be the only one that's in that situation. So I would imagine others are also interested. So I appreciate taking the time to look and share that information with the committee.
Okay.
I'm going to it now.
Okay.
Almost there. Okay. Here,
Okay.
share screen. Here. Hopefully you can see that.
Yes.
So what you
Yes.
have here, that just outlines, that first one just outlines what the committee actually requested. These are present COVID safety protocols, and then these are the various bids that we got and details of what they actually provide. Here is, we try to do a summary. The cost for a buzzer on the front door in the leisure room. They're saying that that can be done in-house so that there's really no cost to the board. We looked at the possibility with BPS of doing a wall where the receptionist desk is, as well as a buzzer on the leisure room, so that there would be a glass. If anyone has recently been into the registrar's office, she now has a glass barrier so that you just can't walk in on her, but also it protects them from the spray from their mouth and nose and the rest of that. There is also a new system that many of the offices are getting. You may also notice now that the mayor's office has a buzzer on their front door before you get in. That is to give them some control of not only people in there, but those with, they may have other problems going on. There is a badge access system. That is a new system that many of the offices are getting. Board of Public Service has it, the IT department has it, and the mayor is supposed to be getting it. This is where there is a device that's on the front door that allows the person in the office to see you. When you push the button, your picture appears up on 3 computers in that office, and then they can push a button to allow you in and even speak to you. So it's two-way conversation. The sneeze guards was one of the things that several members asked to have in the chambers. And you see the cost of that there. BPS came in and looked at how to build that around each of the desks and how much cost that would be. That may also require some moving of the microphone wires that you see. They were in there in a very old system, so many of those wires are up under the rug and then they come on top of it in a very strange manner. Then you have the combined in-person and virtual meeting cost. That we didn't have a full cost on that one. The attachments are in the Google Drive. That was somewhere I know above $50,000 to do that. That would where you would have the equipment in both the Kennedy room and in the chambers where you could have both virtual and in-person meetings at the same time. So that means that a community person could be at home or come to the meeting either way and still be able to both see and participate in the meeting by speaking. That's at option 5, and then various combinations of options are also possible. This was the old one that I had available at the last meeting. Since then, we've had some information about the air filtration system. There's a base question we need to answer, though. Do we want to look at getting smaller devices, which is somewhere around up to $300-400, or the large devices for room that size, which is more like $3,000, $4,000? The details for each one of these approaches is in the Google Drive, and that's what each one of these folders are. Those are the actual proposals that either brought in by Board of Public Service or those that they secured from various companies. And some of those the Board of Public Service could do, and in other instances, they will have to contract that work out to an outside company. Hopefully that's helpful. But see, this was based upon what was requested at the committee hearing. So we just couldn't feel like we can move forward on any of that. There's money available because there are several positions that are still vacant that monies can be transferred over. See, the vice chair has a hand up.
Oh. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I had my hand up, but Alderman Cohen asked what I asked. I had it up because I was going to ask, could he share the screen? Because I couldn't find the documents either. So I just lowered my hands. I'm sorry.
Mr. Clerk,
Yes.
Would it be possible for you to just go into the summary and the budgets for the recommendations for the COVID protocols with the air purification and cleaning? I think that those are probably the two more immediate budgetary items that we'd like to try and get approved. And I'm sure there's, others that, are worthy of discussion as well. Personally, I like the idea of the buzzer system and the badges, but I think at least for the this present time, we were talking about the COVID protocols. And then also, while you're walking through that, did you or someone from the staff reach out to the health department just to make sure that we're taking the right protocols?
Yeah, we did. I called them myself and spoke to some of them, but they were very, very busy at the time that I called. So, but they,
Okay.
the health director did send over some information early on based upon a request from Alderwoman Ingracia.
Okay. I just want to make sure that, if we're going to be spending money, on, any items to help address the concerns, that we're also making sure that we're addressing any of the standards or protocols that the health department has provided us as well.
Exactly. I don't believe they were clear that the Board of Aldermen's chambers is not air conditioned. And so I called back over there to give that information to them. In fact, there is no air circulation system in that room at all. There's this tendency to take the assumption that you have some kind of forced air system in the room that can be adapted to filtration systems. And that has none whatsoever. And even the heating is done by radiators. So I wanted to speak directly to the director so that she is aware and see if she can give some advice on that. I haven't had the opportunity to get to her yet. I did call and leave a message. We haven't spoken. I wanted to do that before really trying to get a whole bunch of filters.
Understood.
Because most people don't believe that those chambers are not air conditioned or does not have forced air heating.
They would if they were there for an 8-hour meeting in July.
Yeah, they would be if you remember that meeting, I was there in August.
Yes.
So
Just invite them down for a lunch in July.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Okay, I just had a question for the clerk. So these filtration systems, the large ones, will we have to have several of them? Because that room is really large.
Right, and that we have to get back with BPS because they would have to do an analysis of that.
Okay, but each large one is about $3,000.
These things can go up to $10,000. It depends upon what you get.
Okay, and but because I'm just thinking with our desks spread out and everything, would we do like 2, 1 on each side, or 3, 1 at the front where the president, or even 4, so.
Right, I don't know.
That has to be laid out, okay? And then I do think the buzzer at the front desk is in keeping with the COVID, because we got to keep people out from coming into our offices. I know while we've been out on, not on break, but while we're not been out at the office, several times people have walked into our office.
Right.
And I've heard that from the staff, and some people don't keep the doors and stuff clean. And I also think some kind of a glass barrier for the receptionist is also necessary. We already kind of did it for our secretaries when they come back, but the receptionist would be exposed to the most people of all. And so I think that has to be keeping in with the COVID protocol. And $1,000 is not that bad. And then the in-house for the buzzer, those are things we could be getting done pretty fast. Even as we worked on the filtration and the cleaning protocol. And do we know how much the cleaning protocol would cost?
Yeah, the last time they did it, it was really just around $1,500, $1,600, somewhere in there.
And would we have to do that depending on if we had another exposure, we found out we had COVID, would we have to do that each time? So is this a long-term contract, or one at a, do we do it one at a time, or how is that worked out?
From my understanding of the way they do it, it really kind of based up on the movement of the person. Were they in the chambers? Were they in the office? And so that makes some determination as exactly what to be done. In this instance, there was more than one person, and they were both in the chambers and throughout the offices. And so that's why we talked about really the need to do a cleaning and sanitizing.
But I'm saying,
And it was not just members of staff of the board. And you also had some individuals from coming in from the mayor's office.
okay. So would we have a long-term contract with them for cleaning, or would we have individual contracts each time we needed them?
I would think that we would be looking for a more long-term contract. But we have to work, again, that's worked. This is done through Board of Public Service.
Oh, it's through BPS?
Yes, it's not, the board does not contract with them directly.
Okay,
So their contract is actually with the Board of Public Service. They get them to come, they do the contract, and then the board transfers the money over or pays them.
and the sneeze guards, was that price including all desks or just a few desks or what?
That includes all desks in the chambers.
Okay,
That's what the things that you see around the secretary's desk are what they're calling sneeze guards.
right, I understand.
All right,
I have no further questions.
all right, thank you, Alderwoman, Madam Vice. Oh, do we still need the screen share up, or can we go back to
I can come out of it.
seeing our smiling faces? All right, Alderman Page, you have your hand up still, or again?
Yes, just a quick question. I've taken a look at those sneeze guards around the staff's desks, and they kind of confine air around that desk. If you add that to the fact that there's no central ventilation, there's no central air conditioning, are we taking into account that there's going to be a perception of higher temperature with that guard around? I know it's for safety, but have we taken that into consideration? Has BPS, has anyone?
I'm not quite clear on your question. Have they taken into consideration how the area of air where the sneeze guards are could be hotter or more intense than other portions? Is that the question?
Essentially, yes.
No, they haven't. We haven't had that conversation with them. I mean, to an extent, when other staff comes into the board chambers who have been there for a while and know they're not air conditioned, it becomes a joking manner. Y'all, you all still meeting in that? Well, why are y'all meeting like this? That kind of thing. So sometimes it's a little difficult to get past the jokes to really get into the information. I'm exaggerating that regard, but you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't adding to the jokes, but I was a little concerned about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's for the comfort of everyone, not only safety.
mm-hmm.
But we don't have to have them. Wouldn't it just be the people who wanted them, like Alderwoman Middlebrook and I asked about them? Do we have to have one for everybody if they don't want them?
I think it's a decision upon the board, what you would like.
Okay,
Because,
We just went
because
ahead
we're
and got
talking
an
about
estimate
sneeze
for
guard.
all of them.
but we're still making that.
I'm sorry, which thing?
We'll still be doing mandatory masking in the chambers, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so with mandatory masking, it's with the proper mask, I believe that takes care of a lot of that, but I believe, if you want to go down through and put sneeze guards or not put sneeze guards, if you're going to do something, I would probably do it. I would think common sense would say that whether you want one or not, it doesn't matter, because that's like saying, do you want a mask or don't you want to wear a mask? I believe if we're going to do something, we let's jump in the pool. But the immediate things that we need to do are the air filtration and the cleaning.
And the cleaning.
Now, in a cleaning date, because we merely have 6 weeks left, I believe July 15th is our break date. Is there a chance of them having a scheduled date before we go on summer break?
It could be. We don't know for certain because they just sent the email today. We asked if they could schedule it. They said they don't know exactly when.
Okay. Because that would, something I guess if we can get a scheduled dates available, and if there is nothing, right away, I mean, we can schedule this and do a deeper clean if there's something better we can do while we're shut down. So there's no chance of if there's a better way to do this while we're down. But if there's a chance they can do it within the next week, that means we can come back for at least 4 meetings. But,
we can continue to push and see.
okay, all right.
But when they sent that, we asked them when. Lisa did directly. They said they didn't know when. But Lisa's good at pushing.
Okay. I get that. All right, so as far as us approving funds, I'm all for that. If we need to, we have a dollar amount for the cleaning. You said it was around $1,600.
Yes, the last one was.
Okay,
Mhm.
so yeah, at that point you might approve $2,000 just in case this. Give
For
us
the
a-
cleaning. Mhm.
Yeah, and then you have air filtration. Is there I guess the most moderately priced? What
Well, that we
price
still had
range?
to get. That we still had to get from BPS.
Okay, all right, so we need to get that from BPS. Okay, so the only thing we could actually approve today would be funding for the cleaning.
For the cleaning.
Yes, okay. All right,
And you could also give some direction on what other things you want us to pursue.
okay. Well, it seems like the door buzzers is something people believe in, the sneeze guards and the air filtration system. Those look like the top 4 on our hit parade.
Okay.
I think the wall and that might be a little too much to jump into right now. Maybe something we can jump in at a later date. Those are things, but any other questions? I see Madam Vice, you have your hand up again?
Yes, I was wondering if we could put, kind of approve a top of the line budget and before he would have to come back with us so that he could continue to try to get things
Okay.
done. Like, could we say 5,000, 10,000 or something so that if it's something he can get done, just keep moving and getting it done instead of having to come back for every little nickel and dime. If there was
Sure,
an
no.
amount people would be comfortable with.
I agree.
I'm fine with that too.
Okay. If, are we in the area of, Mr. Clerk, $5,000, $10,000 that you think would give us a room to wiggle and get things done?
I do, if you make it in between there.
Okay, well, that would
No, I
be,
think
6 or
10.
7.
I
You
think,
think 10?
I
You
think we
think
could
10 would
approve
be better?
$10,000, and if it'd be just like doing something with Ward Capital. What we don't use, we can move back, but they have it there to give us a way to work. And that way you're not coming back to us every time you need 25 cents.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to vote on approving $10,000 transfer to proceed with protocols, I believe that would be in line.
Mr. Chairman, we got some other people here. I know we're gonna vote, but since we got people that's gonna affect, could we see if anybody else has any questions or concerns?
Sure, I'm looking, I see no hands up. Is there anyone who would like to speak? I see, okay, Alderwoman from the 8th, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess my question around the, I think the air filtration sounds great. I'm curious what the cleaning protocols actually, like, what is that? Is that like wiping down the desks? Is that just sort of an aerial, like, is it an aerosolized cleaning? Like, what does that cleaning protocol look like?
So you're asking what they did the last go round?
Yeah.
From my understanding, because I was only there for a portion of it, is yes, the desks are clean. Remember, you had your secretaries move stuff off your desk. The desks were clean, the floors were clean. They wiped down all of the doorknobs and doors. They did the trim for the doors and the windows. They did the seals with a disinfectant. Then they came in with a spray as well.
Okay.
And they did all cabinets, everything that people could easily touch. So we even asked them to do the top of the door seals, and they went back and did all of that.
Okay.
As well as the rugs. And then they sprayed they actually cleaned the rugs, and then came back and sprayed with a disinfectant.
Sure. Yeah.
And that includes the microphones and the stands and the poles that they're on.
Sure.
The toilets. They did the offices, the chambers, and the Kennedy room.
Okay. I guess my question there is if all of that is sort of medically indicated for adults who would hopefully not be, I don't know, this is an absurd example. I realize no one is doing this, but like no one's going to be putting their mouth on a desk. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I'm wondering if we know that COVID is an aerosolized virus, if that amount of cleaning, I guess, is medically indicated at this point. But if that's sort of the set package that all of the offices in City Hall are going through, then that's fine. You know, I know that I had close contact with one of our colleagues that did have COVID, and I was fine. I think we were both wearing masks, and so I tested clean after that encounter. And so I have faith, I think, that our protocols are working. So I guess I just want to sort of be as streamlined as possible and with clear expectations about how it is that we can get the virus and transmit it to each other. So and then that kind of relates to my question about the sneeze guards as well, is that I remember reading towards the beginning of the pandemic that potentially, you know, walling in, and this may have been Alderman Page's question as well, that sort of walling us in may change the airflow and the way that the filtration systems may actually work to circulate within those sort of sneeze guard boxes that we may create. And I'm wondering if that's an expense that is sort of medically indicated, I guess, scientifically indicated. And if we're going to be putting it on 28 desks when 14 of those desks are about to go away, if that's not something that's sort of scientifically indicated, I would urge sort of caution before we put those all in place, or at least just for those who request them. If folks are more comfortable, then I think it would be fair to request them. So those are my thoughts, Mr. Chairman. That's all.
Understood.
Thank you.
In a room that has really no air circulation at all, except for opening up the chamber, you know, the balcony doors. The chair is fanning.
Can't hear you.
You're muted.
That's because you didn't want to hear what I was saying. Alderman from the 4th, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I saw that you guys had mentioned walls, doors, and desks, and I did not hear chairs. Did I not hear chairs would also be clean and disinfected as well?
Yeah. If I may not have said it, but they are as well.
Okay. All right. That's all. I kind of figured that was an oversight. All right.
Okay. All right. Any other hands? No further questions? Anyone? I'm not seeing your hands. Speak now or forever hold your peace, as they say. Okay. With that, you have Alderman Tyus. Was there anyone else you had lined up to speak on this, or?
No, just the
Okay.
clerk. He's the only one that had the information we needed.
All right. Okay. At that point, I believe that we can take a vote on approving a $10,000 budget for COVID protocols at this point. Is that where we're at?
Yes,
Okay.
I'd move that we take a vote on extending a $10,000 credit limit to the clerk to work on purchasing COVID protocol for the chambers and I guess Kennedy room and leisure room or whatever's included in that.
So, who's the second from? Sorry.
24.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, make note of that. Mr.
Noted.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Cone. Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Page.
Aye.
Chairman Vollmer.
Aye.
You have 7 aye votes.
Okay, with that, your vote, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. We now have $10,000 in the bank to do our COVID protocols. I believe that was the only agenda item. Am I correct? Let me get to my.
Actually, we have another agenda item We need to talk about, so you know, we lost a secretary, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
and there's something that we need to go into closed session.
yeah, no, I'm sorry. I meant to say that was our only item
Okay.
for our open session.
Yes,
My next statement was going to be, I believe we, at this point, will be going into closed session to take up our item 2. So, Mr. Clerk, if we could do our necessary protocol to put us into closed session. Those not members, please leave. And then I guess, I'm
You
not
need to
sure
make-
how we do it Zoom wise, but take whatever.
You need to make a motion needs to be made. to go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm sorry. I apologize for that. It's been a
I
long
move
day.
that we go into closed session.
Entertain a second.
pursuant to the to the statute,
The statute's on the agenda. That
right?
needs
Okay.
to be read or cited.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from the 24th. That we will now go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. We will now go into closed session. We are now back in open session. And let me get to my agenda. And drive. Agenda. All right. Line item 7, do we have any announcements? No announcements. We believe, excuse Alderman, I believe that all Aldermen were present.
All were present.
Okay, at that point, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move, we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Been seconded by Alderman from 24th, that we adjourn. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow morning.
All in favor?
Or Friday
Aye.
morning. Oh,
We gotta vote aye.
Aye.
all in favor, say aye.
Okay, opposed?
Nay. I'm a little slap happy myself here today. Thank you. guys
I
very much.
understand. That's why I got your back, okay?
Don't worry. Thank you, Madam Vice. Thank you, all members. We'll see you Friday morning. Thank you.